Hi and welcome to another SEO video for e-commerce store owners. In this week's video I'm taking a look at why it's quite so difficult as a layperson, as a non-SEO expert, to work out exactly what's needed to get your store to the top of Google for any particular search term. Today, to demonstrate how difficult that can be, I've picked a fairly easy to rank for term, lavender honey. It's not competitive at all and in theory doesn't need a lot of work to rank in the top position. Now, for most keywords, for most search terms, being top of Google makes a massive difference. Anecdotally, at least, there are twice as many clicks coming from the top position as the second position, and pretty much twice as many from the second as there are from the third. So if you're in positions 4, 5, 6, moving to position 3 makes a big difference. If you're in position 3, moving to position 1 also makes a really large difference. But it can be very difficult to tell what the difference is between you and the number 1 position that's going to close that gap. So what I've done here is I've opened up 6 different websites, all ranking for the term lavender honey, and they are ranking. The first 3 we'll look at are ranking at the top of page 1, and the second 3 we'll look at are ranking at the top of page 2. So let's see if we can tell what the differences are just on a visual inspection and some fairly simple word counting techniques. So this is the first one. This is beehype.co.uk. They are the number 1 result currently for lavender honey, and they've got a big, bold, bright site. You'd be hard pushed to know that you were on a product page here. It does almost look like a home page, a landing page, but this add to basket sign here is what gives it away that you are on the product page. Now what I've done here is scroll down and you can see it doesn't even say lavender honey as the title, it just says lavish lavender, but they do use the word lavender several times, and they use the phrase lavender honey. Let's just control find lavender honey 5 times in their copy, and there are about 100 or so words of copy, so not loads, but it's unique, it's their copy. And then as we go down, there's a few more words here talking about the lavish lavender again, and we've got trust signals here, so an image showing a review from Trustpilot, and there are more reviews here, so lots of trust signals, lots of big vibrant images that make you want to try their product, lots of great statements about how they work, and all of this goes to give the user confidence to purchase. Now we know that users staying on site is a ranking signal, so although Google really struggles to see what's on your site and understand what's in the pictures, it can read the text, but it doesn't really know what makes a good honey site. All it knows is that if somebody types in lavender honey and they go to Beehype and they don't come back to the Google search, then they've probably been satisfied, their need has been met. So it's in your best interest as an e-commerce owner to make the page encouraging to people to buy, because if they buy they won't go back to Google, and Google's going to say your website is satisfying this query better than Joe Bloggs's. So let's look at the number 2 rank and see what difference we've got. Now, chalk and cheese barely begins to describe it. That is it. You are seeing the whole page. Now, this isn't actually a honey website. This Lavender Fields is a lavender farm, and they make lots of products from lavender. This just happens to be their honey page, and they're ranking number 2 for lavender honey. I suspect they're doing that off the back of a lot of goodwill for lavender keywords rather than honey keywords. But you can see here there's barely a word on the page. So in theory, this isn't too tough of an opponent to knock out, other than what I can see is they've got a lot of backlinks, which makes a big difference. So if I was a honey retailer looking at this, I think I'd be incredibly frustrated I wasn't outranking these guys. But with an SEO behind you, somebody who knows what they're doing, can dig into the competition, can understand what it takes to leapfrog them, I genuinely don't think these guys would be hard to knock off the number 2 position. So let's look at number 3. We've got Little Over Apiary is Limited. A lot more traditional, quite an old school dated looking site, but clean, it's simple. And again, the word count is in tune with the number one position. The concentration of the words lavender and lavender honey is in line with the number one position. And we've got, additional information and product reviews. Oh dear, that's not very good. Look at that. So I think if my 2-star review from 2019 was on the page, I'm not sure I'd want to be revealing that. Moving on, related products. And then what I'm seeing here is trust signal. So 2-star review, not a great trust signal. Then we've got 2000, I don't know if you can read that on the screen, but this is 2005. So these are 20 years old. So, another not a great trust signal. So I don't think these guys would have to do very much to improve themselves into position 2, position 1. They could certainly do with a website overhaul to make it more appealing, make the buttons more clickable, make the, where's the extra images, where's the lifestyle images. It wouldn't take a lot to improve this to the point where customers would land on here and go, okay, this is the product for me. I mean, that 2-star review is bringing their review average down to 3.5 stars. You've got to ask yourself how hard it would be as the owner of this business to get some reviews to bump that up for this particular product. Okay, now we're going to move on to the bottom of page 1. This is the Raw Honey shop, and they've got a different approach yet again. It's an interesting website. I don't know if it works for me, but I do understand what they're doing. So if I scroll, you can see that this element is a fixed element, so it stays on the page all the time. But the image doesn't stay on the page. The image is separate from this part and disappears. And you might also notice that they've got 3 columns going on. So there's a column here with customer reviews, which is fantastic for trust signaling and encouraging people to buy. The downside is this is a load more text that Google can read, and with the 700 words they've got on the left hand side, which is 4-5 times more than any of their competitors, add in these review words and you've got 1,000 word page, which we're just not seeing in the top ranking pages. That also means, because they've stayed at the same kind of density of keywords, there's a lot more mention of the word lavender, there's a lot more mention of the word lavender honey, which potentially looks to Google like this page is being over optimized, and so it's not doing as well as it could do. Position 7, it's okay. If they were on position 2 a month ago, that's probably a great result. But position 3 would see them getting a load more traffic than they currently are. Now, in terms of other trust signals, I'll go back at the top here. This was an interesting one. 9,100 reviews. Great trust signal for a human being. There is no code attached to that image, though, for Google to read. So Google has no idea what that's doing. There is a way to let Google see how many reviews you're getting and add value to your page through that. Now, what I haven't done is checked any of these sites for schema markup, and that's one of those harder to see and implement SEO tasks, but for an online retailer, no less essential in terms of making it easier for you to rank and for your customers to find you and purchase from you. Now let's skip on to page 2. So this is from Field and Flower, but these guys are on page 2, even though they've got as strong a backlink profile as the websites in positions 1 to 3. Now, one of the things that you could say is going on here is they've got great raw lavender honey, great write-up, they've got the title, they've got enough words. Let's just have a look. So 154 words, it's in line with the other guys. They mentioned lavender honey only 3 times though, and the word lavender only 6, so quite a few less than their winning competitors. And then we've also got this additional problem, I think is probably an issue for them. They've got related products at the bottom, which is no bad thing. Any retailer worth their salt is using related products, but each of these has the full description, and Google's just seeing this as a load more text on the page. So I suspect this is diluting the meaning of the page for Google. It's not clear to Google that this is a lavender honey exclusive page, and it might just be that changing how these related products are displayed and certainly removing a lot of this text that comes with them would make a difference to how this page is ranking for lavender honey. Almost certainly I would expect to see it tip onto page 1 if they did that. And then finally, we're now at position 13, 14, so we're getting halfway down page 2. And again, it's a fairly standard e-commerce page. It's fairly simple e-commerce page. A bit of colour wouldn't go amiss, certainly in terms of helping people buy and directing them to what you wanted them to do. Loads of images here. 13 images of a glass jar. But, Great Taste 2024, something to shout about, which, I'm not sure they're doing very well. So they're Great Taste Awards 2019, but it says 2024 on here. So, come on guys, update your website. It's really not that hard to do and it will pay off. One thing I did find on here, though, is the amount of keyword usage. So this amount of content here, again, is in line with what their competitors are doing, 100, 150 words. But the number of mentions of lavender on the page is 18, which is, substantially more than their competitors. So I suspect Google possibly is penalising them because they look a bit over-optimised, a bit too many mentions of their keywords within the amount of text they've got on the page. Now, we have also got some trust signals on here. We've got, 5-star review. It's quite cheap compared to their competitors or some of their competitors. We've got 3 5-star reviews at the bottom of the page. This is all good stuff. Again, though, it would help them if they put the effort into getting more reviews from their customers. That's 3 reviews since 2019. It's not a depth. It's not a proof that this is a really well enjoyed and appreciated honey, as gorgeous as I suspect it is. You can see it's quite a challenge looking at what you need to do to rank just by examining the page visually. And you've also got to bear in mind that Google's not great at visually examining a page. It's great at examining the text and the backlinks, but not how the page looks. So a mediocre looking design page might be a turn off for you as a human being, but for Google, it might just hit the mark in terms of word count, concentration of keywords, heading structure, keywords in the headings, all those kinds of things. What you can't see so well as a layperson is how many backlinks these websites have got. And actually they're all roughly in line with each other. But what some of them do better than others, especially the ones at the top of Google, is they are pointing internal links to these lavender honey pages, which is signifying to Google that these are important pages. They've got additional value, and Google's going, okay, I'll rank those because you've got additional value. And then there are other things like, how well is your page structured? Are you using H2, H3 headings correctly? Are you using semantically similar keywords? Have you set up a unique H1? Has it got the keyword in it? Has your meta title got the keyword in it? Has your meta description got the keyword in it? Is it a compelling description that would make me want to click it when I see it in Google? Have your images got alt tags attached to them with semantically similar keywords in there? All these things, they're all little things on their own, but together they mount up and they say to Google, this is what this page is about. This is why I can be trusted. And then, of course, there's those signals I talked about at the beginning of this video. When your customers land on the page, or when new visitors land on the page, they put the product in the basket because you've given them the trust signals. They've compelling copy, fabulous imagery. You've made it very easy to buy. Your checkout is straightforward. So all of those things together keep Google happy because your customers have bought your product and haven't bounced back to Google to look for somebody else offering the same thing. Now, I hope that all makes sense. I hope you find it useful. If you would like me to take a look at your lavender honey page or any other product page and see what it would take to move you to the top 3 positions for your particular keyword on that page, then click the link below or scan this QR code. It will only cost you £50 and I'll give you a full breakdown of exactly what I believe you need to do to get in those top 3 positions. Well, that's it for this week. If you've got any questions, please leave them in the comments. Thank you so much for your time, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.